Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andrea Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and Northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
It's going fine, John. I mean, the weather's heating up. It's getting warm. I'm getting excited about this week. It's been a wonderful, exciting April. I mean, we're having rain, but not as much as we did last year. It's warmer than it was last year. So I'm really excited. I had a very nice birthday and
Yeah,
um,
okay.
I'm still celebrating the entire month. So, that's what we do when we get older and don't want to acknowledge the age. We celebrate the entire month, reap the benefits. Yes.
Yeah.
And then find excuses to go shopping with money you don't have or shouldn't spend. So, it's
Oh,
one of
of
those,
course.
it's one of those months. Yes.
Of
So,
course, of
of
course.
course. So,
So what's the chocolate news of the week?
the chocolate news of the week is what everyone experienced the other day is the eclipse. I know you were out there looking at
Yes.
the solar eclipse. I had a friend, one friend was outside Columbus in a field, drinking wine, listening to local musicians perform while they're waiting for the eclipse to occur.
Mm.
Um, I, on the other hand, was sitting inside in front of the television because, I'm such a news junkie. I was watching the coverage to see who was doing what where. And I was flipping channels between MSNBC, CNN, and ABC, just watching the different perspectives. Who was with what reporter? A lot of reporters had families with them. They were stationed right near where their families were sitting, so they could pull
Hmm.
them into the report. Even one father in Indianapolis, there was one reporter. She was on the drive part of the Indianapolis Speedway, and her father howled right when the clip started. And she started laughing, and then everyone else started howling too. So I mean, it was fascinating to watch. I think it was a wonderful event to see a 4 minute, 28-second event. Locally, I-75 was backed up early. I was driving home about 12:30, and I-75 was back. I-75 North was backed up.
Wow.
And normally I-75 doesn't get backed up until starting about 2:30, 3 o'clock, with people going home from work, changing shift, things like that. But no, it was backed up because everyone was trying to get home or get to where they were going to view the eclipse,
Mm.
and which I thought was interesting. And I think everyone had glasses or made stuff, and everyone had their experience it differently. One friend who had my sister's work friend whose family has a farm said their cows decided to go back to the barn because they thought it was dark, because they normally go home in the dark when it gets dark, and not stay out in the fields. And they got confused when the sun came back. So that was interesting. One dog kept barking, another friend's dog kept barking throughout the whole thing. Another friend who works as a security guard, I think it was interesting because they had a freak out moment where a poor woman, um, she thought the world was ending.
Of course. Well, to be fair, back in the day, people probably thought the world was ending too.
Yes, I know. I know they're usually they're way back when, in the early days, the solar eclipse was controversial. It was seen as a sign of the world ending, or God was punishing the people, or all kinds of. Then there are the spiritual conspiracy theories and all that type stuff. And I think really truly it was a wonderful event. I think it's unique that we know enough in today's society. We are aware of what's going on in the heavens, and we're able to admire and look at this as a beautiful event, and not look at it as a holy threat, a call to war, or the world is ending.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think everyone. It was an undeclared. It was a half undeclared half day at work to watch about 5 minutes of the heavens show us that we're not fully in control of this world.
Yeah.
And I think it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
Only reason why I wasn't outside is because my eyes are sensitive and I didn't want to take a chance. So I just watched the news coverage and enjoyed watching the natural light in my living room go to dark, from light to dark, back to light again. And I thought the coverage, overall coverage everywhere, was fantastic. To watch it start in Mexico, then Texas, then across the Midwest and into the Northeast. And I just thought it was fantastic. And see all the pictures either on Instagram and on Facebook of what people were doing. It was such a family friendly event. I think that was the best part of it all. It was a family friendly event. Kids learned. I remember one reporter interviewed one kid. He's like, "This is my first time seeing it. It was wonderful." And everyone was chuckling because he said, "This is my first time seeing something like this." And we were like, "Yeah, it was." So, but overall, it was great. And I'm very, very, very happy to
Yeah.
that it occurred.
Just to let our viewers know, we hope you watched it, the solar eclipse, because well, let me ask you, Andrea, when do you think the next total solar eclipse is going to happen? Just guess what year?
2060?
2099.
Ouch.
Yeah, so that's the next total solar eclipse for Ohio. So we hope you guys watched it, because it's not gonna happen for a long, long time. I think I'll be like in my hundreds if
2099, that is,
2099. Yep.
oh my God, that's okay. That's just, ooh,
I mean,
wow.
I
That
mean
that
to
is
I mean to be fair, that's for Ohio though. It's like for the rest of America, there is another one in like 2044, but it's gonna be like different, parts of America. But just for Ohio, it's gonna be 2099, like a total solar eclipse.
2099.
Yeah,
I wonder if we're gonna have flying cars by then.
I hope so. I watched Back to the Future Part 2, man. It's like we're supposed to have flying cars in 2015.
Are we gonna have walking escalators, sidewalk escalators, and flying cars? And then you know what I always thought, if we could all learn how to poof, go from one spot to another, like in Harry Potter. We
Oh,
go
like teleportation. Yeah,
teleportation, you
yeah.
know, though that might be a little messy. So, okay, that's Star Trek. Never mind. So, South Carolina won, and
Yay.
I think that was such it. They had more viewers of that game than they did for the men.
They did. It's very remarkable. It's like I don't think that's ever happened before, has it?
No, no,
Yeah.
it's never happened before. But I mean, it was a good game. But then again, who thought for the men's basketball, who thought Purdue would be in the final against UConn?
I
You
know,
know,
right?
I
Yeah.
mean, on my bracket, I had UConn, I mean, Purdue losing early.
Yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
have them making to the Sweet 16. So you notice how much I knew. But again, when teams are that hungry, they're going to perform.
Oh yeah.
And when it clicks, it clicks. And I think for the women, I think people are starting to see that, men just aren't having good basketball too. I mean, the WNBA, their draft is coming up. Both Caitlin and, oh, what was the child's name from South Carolina who declared?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying
I
to remember.
I'm trying to remember her name, and I've seen so many different pictures of her. I think that she's up for the draft as well, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Um, and I think Dante. I wonder what she's gonna do next, or where she's gonna go, because she's now the highest paid female coach in NCAA.
Ooh, that's amazing.
Yes, and when I say highest paid, she's getting 2 million. Some of these men are getting 5 and 10.
Yeah.
She's getting 2.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders is getting 10 for a
Really?
team that lost what they won only 2 games,
Oh
but he
wow.
brought people back to the stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, he did so much branding for where is he? Oregon? No. Columbia? No.
I can't remember. Was it
Arizona.
Arizona? Right. Okay,
Arizona.
gotcha.
I knew it was out west. It takes me a minute sometimes to remember that file. When you get older, the files take a little longer to spin around and come up with what the information you know, but you know
Mm.
it's there. But I think overall, I'm looking forward to next year, and I'm looking forward to seeing who she recruits. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I'll tell you one thing that I did miss. I missed UC and Xavier being in the brackets this year. Missed them.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I know the Northern Kentucky University, no, not Northern Kentucky, I'm sorry. I know they're all going through some changes in terms of recruiting new members to the team. I know Xavier's women's basketball team is going through a new recruiting because they need new people. The men's basketball is doing well, but they need a little help. Their season could have been a little bit better. UC season could have been a little bit better too, but
Yeah.
hopefully, we'll get to see a little bit of March Madness next year from all of our teams. So there's that. But also want to recognize, just on a FYI, Essence Magazine had a wonderful story about the first HBCU basketball team that won 3 national championships in a row between 1957 and 1959, but because of the Jim Crow laws, they were never recognized. And these were the men, that was over 60 years ago. And these are the Tennessee A&I Tigers of the Tennessee Agriculture Industrial State University in Nashville, which is now Tennessee State. And they made history, and they won back to back to back championships. And in a special ceremony with at the White House with Vice President Kamala Harris, they participated in a roundtable discussion, and they got recognized for what they did. And I think that's fantastic. So look up Essence Magazine for that story and read a little bit of history that, you know, some good things, something that happened a long, long time ago, but it helped to continue to perpetuate why we play basketball and we love the game. But
Mm.
there's another thing, another number one that's been made. Beyonce's album, Cowboy Carter, which I still got to hear. I have not listened to this. Well, I've heard the one hit song that everyone keeps dancing to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what is that song?
Texas Hold'em, I think.
Texas Hold'em, which I
Yeah.
think is interesting. Now, I've heard people say, no, it's not a country album. I've heard people say this is just Beyonce doing her thing. And I've heard people say, yes, it is a country album. I think the fact that she is at the top of the Billboard 200 chart for a country music album, which is not done, I wonder that means she's going to take awards at the CMT Awards next year.
Possibly.
Instead of being the Grammys, it's going to be CMT.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
And I wonder if she's going to perform at CMT. That will be interesting to see her perform at the Country Music Awards. That is going to be interesting.
That would be
Um,
something.
that would be something, because there are a lot of, but Beyonce is just where other Black singers are singing country music and they're not getting as rich of a recognition as Beyonce is. They're out there doing their thing, winning making albums, winning over audiences, things like that. And there's a guy on YouTube that I listen to. I just found him during COVID, and I happened to be playing around on YouTube, and he came up. Actually, had a reality show on Netflix for a year, and started listening to him. He's really good, and he does his own out. He performs independently. He records his own albums. He produces his own albums. He is his own agent. He goes on tour. He does his own tour, And he is incredible. And I just can't think of his name right now. And but he's on Spotify. And then there are other country music artists, Black country music artists, as well, that each have their are winning attention in their own right, one way or the other. And but Beyonce, she's not just winning attention, she's trumping it. So I think it's very impressive that she's done this. And I think as an artist, she's pushing the envelope.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Because who do you know chooses to do a country music album? Well, what's his name? Hootie and the Blowfish,
Oh yeah, Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker. And I should know that. I have several of his albums. And he's a true country boy at heart. Oh my God. I don't even see how he did rock and roll. If you ever go to one of his concerts, country boy. Oh my God. Just unbelievable. And I think Beyonce is just blowing open the door and forcing everyone to understand that Black people started country music because it was a form of blues. Country music was, and getting back to musical roots, so to speak, is impressive. But she's doing it her way, and I think, what is she going to do next? And she has 24 songs on this, so she has more hits coming out soon. So it's going to be interesting to see what other hits she's going to get off this album, because somebody's buying it.
Yeah.
So, next up, another baseball history moment, Hank Aaron. And the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum is honoring the legacy of Hank Aaron with a bronze statue. And the U.S. Postal Service is going to do a commemorative stamp. The museum is going to display the Hall of Fame plaque and preserve his legacy through exhibits and artifacts at the Baseball Hall of Fame. Can you believe it was 50 years ago?
I can't believe it.
It's hard to believe it was 50 years ago. Unbelievable that the man who broke open the door for Blacks to play baseball is unbelievable. Just imagine what he went through to just get into the game. And now it's given. It's a given that they're Blacks are playing baseball. You don't see as many playing baseball as you do basketball and football, but you have Blacks playing baseball. I always hope that we see the little league baseball teams. They continue, the little boys and little girls continue on to see what can happen. I still want a woman. I'm still waiting for a woman coach in baseball. I'm waiting for a female pitcher. The pitch.
Yeah.
We had that TV show for one season, which I thought was malarkey.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Which I'm waiting for that. That little girl who won the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for her to come out and play and turn professional and see
Yeah.
which team is going to pick her up, because she could pitch. She was a pitcher. And I'm waiting for a star hitter, female star hitter, and not in softball. I want it in baseball. We've broken the color barrel. We've broken the gender barrel. Now I want to see it broken to the point of where we see women playing in baseball, chewing tobacco, spitting on the ground, having a
Mm-hmm.
real good time, and decking men if they touch too closely. So, we haven't seen women play hockey yet, but it's coming. I
Yeah.
know there are girls who play hockey, but we haven't seen them on a professional team yet. But if Cincinnati can have a all-star starters, Black starters on their team, it's coming from women. It's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what can I say? And last but not least, the walk to end gun violence that happened in the West End this weekend. I happened to be there. I wasn't at the beginning of the parade. I was kind of like joined in the middle and saw some people I knew and started talking about some other things. And the walk to end gun violence was done in honor of 11-year-old Dominic Davis, who was shot and killed about 5 months ago. Um,
Oh, so
and
sad.
yeah, it was so sad. They're still looking for the shooter. There have been a number of rumors in the community of how it happened or why it happened, but it has not been substantiated because no one has come forward, whether to say he was the target, not him, and to say the guy who did the shooting.
That's a
They have not.
shame.
It is a shame. I know the walk was powerful. The town hall forum was powerful, especially when you had people tired. They want the gun violence to end. The one comment that came out is, okay, so where are the guns coming from? We don't have gun stores here. We don't have they don't hold off market secondhand market sales on guns in the West End or all over the city. Whenever you hear about gun shows, they're usually out in the suburbs. They're never
Yeah,
in the city. Um,
exactly.
and gun stores, I know certain places do sell guns, but in the city, where's a gun? I know there's a gun store someplace, but it's not in the West End.
Yeah,
And so that was one point that riled the audience. Another point was, parents need to take responsibility for the kids.
oh yeah, big time.
Um, a lot of people, they give excuses like, well, they may not know how to parent, or they have an addiction and there's mental health. I'm sorry, but you know what? You chose to bear that child. You chose to pay and clean, keep that child. You're responsible for that child.
Exactly.
And some people, one person said, it's all about young people learning respect for parents. Well, what about parents learning respect for their child? Not curse at them,
Hmm.
not hit them, you know, feed them, clothe them, send them to school, set a high expectation for them, have them do better than you. Though sometimes that concept is a little hard for some parents. But it is something that the West End is tired. They're tired of being in survival mode. They're tired of working 2, 3, 4 jobs, and they want their kids to do better and not live in fear and feel the need they have to be packing because someone else is packing, so they can feel comfortable walking from home to school and back again,
Hmm.
or walking to a neighborhood event. So it was a good Saturday afternoon. It was a great way for the community to come together, for people to speak up and speak out. And you saw everyone down there speaking and discussing, and I know there are issues going on surrounding the West End and gun violence, but all we can do is everyone is working to end gun violence and help the youth. And everyone needs to do their part to help end this epidemic.
Most
Um,
definitely.
and that is all the chocolate news for today.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea. And that's it for today's show. And I want to thank Andrea again for all the good chocolate news. Thank you,
You're
Andrea.
you're welcome.
And remember, folks, you can find out more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.cincinnatiherald.com, the Session newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. Our podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. I'm John Alexander Reese.
And I'm Andrea Carter.
And have a good day.